Touchdown BC is sponsored by the Robertson Braun Group, Remax Kelowna. Thinking real estate in Kelowna? Think Blake Roberts and Marlene Braun. For more information, call 250-212-2888 or 250-878-5242.
Welcome to Touchdown BC, Episode 3. I'm your host, Adam Kordick. This week, we'll recap the BCFC, show you some highlights from the 2016 Chili Bowl, an annual community tournament hosted by the Chilliwack Giants, and get you set up for UBC's first preseason game this Friday on the island. Now it's time to get into the action. Week 5 of the BCFC is in the books, and there were some great games played this past weekend. With only 5 games remaining in the season before the playoffs start, playoff teams look to solidify a postseason berth. One of the surprise stories in the BCFC this year has been the play of the West Shore Rebels. Last season they were 2-8, and this year they are rolling, starting off the season 3-1. This past weekend, the Rebels visited the 0-4 Valley Huskers in a quest for another W.
West Shore Rebels taking on the Valley Huskers at Exhibition Stadium. Second cue, the Huskers get on the board first. Noah Faulkner throws it to the corner of the end zone, and Blake Draper comes out of nowhere for the highlight reel catch. Huskers up 7. West Shore would respond. Ashton McKinnon drops back to pass and airs it out through the uprights to a wide open Nathaniel Pinto in the back of the end zone for the score. After a Husker TD made it 14-7, Jamel Lyles runs it in from 5 yards out to tie it up. After a Rouge, Rebels lead 15-14 at the half. In the third, the Huskers would regain the lead. Noah Faulkner connects with his go-to target, Blake Draper, and is gone. Huskers up 20-14. West Shore would not go away. McKinnon looks around before hitting Kane Melchor with a bullet in stride. Kane does the rest, going for the 59-yard touchdown catch. Rebels up 1. In the fourth, the Rebels pull away. First, McKinnon finds Melchor again on the screen pass, dodges a couple players on his way to the end zone. Then on their next drive, Campbell takes the handoff, finds a hole, then stiff arms this guy, stiff arms that guy, one more stiff arm to boot, gets to the edge for the 55-yard touchdown run. The West Shore Rebels go on to win this one, 47-23 over the Valley Huskers. With the win, the Rebels move to 4-1, and the Huskers still remain without a win, going to 0-5. This weekend, the two teams will meet again. This time, the Rebels will be at home. Langley Rams taking on the VI Raiders. The Raiders get off to a great start in the first. Kevin Chopik finds Jared Braun. Braun breaks the tackle and can't be brought down on his way for the major. Raiders up 7. Raiders next drive, they put up some more points. Chopik scans the field before tossing one up on a perfectly thrown ball. It's Braun again making the catch for the touchdown. Raiders up 14-0. After a huge Nick Angeletto punt return, Jordan Fox gets the TD on the QB sneak. 14-10 Raiders at the half. In the third, Rams come out firing. Rams lineman Stewart brings the heat and causes Chopik to fumble. And in Desjardins picks up the loose ball, and he will take it all the way to the end zone for the defensive touchdown and the lead. Crossing the line like Usain Bolt, 22-14 Rams. In the fourth, the Rams defense continues to get after Chopik. The Raiders QB tries to get away, but it's a team effort by the Rams to take him down. The Rams' next possession, they put the game away. It's Colby Peters throwing it up to Khalif Johnson, who comes down with the catch for the 35-yard major. Rams win this one, 29-14 over the VI Raiders. The Langley Rams keep their winning streak alive, moving to 4-1. They will host the Okanagan Sun this Saturday. The Raiders have now lost 2 straight, going to 2-3. They will visit the Kamloops Broncos this weekend. Okanagan hosting Kamloops. This game was all sun and no rain. Casey Russell had 2 of Okanagan's touchdowns, and Beck Fullerton took this INT to the house for 6. The Okanagan Sun win this one big, 31-0 over the Kamloops Broncos. The Sun remain perfect at 5-0. They will play Langley Rams on the road this Saturday. Kamloops going to 0-5 and will host the VI Raiders at home this weekend. Now let's take a look at the standings. The Sun are still on top with a record of 5-0, with the Rebels and Rams just 1 game behind. With the loss, VI drops to 2-3. Kamloops and Valley just 2 games behind. for that final playoff spot. The BCFC's Offensive Player of the Week for Week 5 is Valley Huskers receiver Blake Draper. Even in the loss to the Rebels, Draper had 8 receptions for 124 yards and 3 touchdowns. The BCFC's Defensive Player of the Week is Okanagan Sun defensive back Beck Fullerton. In the win against the Broncos, Fullerton had 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, including taking 1 interception for a touchdown. For the 3rd time this season, the BCFC Special Teams Player of the Week is Langley Rams kicker Tiernan Doherty. Doherty had 15 punts, averaging 32.5 yards, was 2 for 2 in field goals, and was perfect on his converts against the Raiders. The game of the week is the 5-0 Okanagan Sun taking a trip down the Coquihalla to take on the 4-1 Langley Rams. We talked with the Suns head coach Ben McCallum and got his thoughts on what he can expect from the Rams.
Well, they got a great coaching staff. Sean Olson's done a good job with a young group there of being able to manufacture some points and put some good drives together. And really, we haven't paid a whole lot of attention to them just because we've been focused on our opponents. But now we'll get into the film. Today I've already been in a bit this morning, and they do a lot of things really well. They've got a lot of playmakers. They're going to have us on our A game preparation wise this week. They're going to be smart, the football. That's one thing that's hard to prepare for is the actions and counter actions that we expect. Sean Olson's going to have those guys ready to play. So, we're looking forward to it. We think it's going to be a good test, maybe our best test of the season so far. And, we've always got that mindset. We're going to be the best opponent we can be to ourselves during the week of practice. And no different this week, except for, it's going to be something new, some new learning, new wrinkles that we've got to take care of. So, it's going to be fun, but at the same time, it's going to be probably our toughest week yet.
We also talked to Langley Rams head coach Kerry Joseph and asked him about what he can expect in the 5-0 Okanagan Sun.
It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be an intense game. It's going to be the first time we're seeing each other, so there's going to be a feeling out process. You can only get so much from game tape, but I expect a physical game that's going to go down to the last seconds.
If you are in the Langley area, that game is this Saturday, kickoff at 7 p.m. at McLeod Athletic Park. Another game going on in the BCFC this weekend is in Kamloops. The 2-3 VI Raiders will take on the 0-5 Kamloops Broncos. These two teams met back in Week 1, where it was the Raiders defeating the Broncos 37-14. We talked with the Raiders head coach Jerome Erdman and got his thoughts on what he can expect in a rematch against the Broncos.
A dogfight. They've improved, and even though we improved the past 2 weeks, we kind of took a step backwards this past week. So we're facing a tough road trip. And we're playing an improving team. It's going to be a tough game, and we're going to have to be at our best to come on top.
We also talked to Kamloops Broncos head coach Brad Yamoka and got his thoughts on his upcoming game against the Raiders.
Well, hopefully we can come out and execute. I mean, that's what we want to do. We just want to execute our game plan. VI, a very well coached team. They have some weapons. They have guys that can make big plays, and we just gotta eliminate the big play. Eliminate our turnovers, and I think things will work itself out. But it's going to be a battle, and it's a game that I think we need to win to be able to put ourselves in positions to get into that last playoff spot.
If you are in the Kamloops area, the game between the VI Raiders and the Kamloops Broncos is on Saturday. Kickoff at 7 p.m. at Hillside Stadium. Last but not least, this week in Langford, the 0-5 Valley Huskers take on the 4-1 West Shore Rebels. This is a rematch of last week's game where we saw the Rebels defeat the Huskers 47-23. We talked with Valley head coach Jason Quinter and asked him what his team needs to do better heading into the rematch.
Start with, we need to stop them from running for 300 yards. It's all well and fine to say we did a good job of stopping Jamel, but we did not stop number 4, and he's an outstanding back in his own right, and it's not like it's Jamel and the other backs. It's 2 backs that are both equally good, and And this young man, number 4, has amazing speed, and he's got strength at the same time. And then they've got that amazing offensive line. That's JC and Shane and the rest of the coaching staff put together a phenomenal team over there, and they went through their growing pains last year. And now they're seeing their work come to fruition, and good for them. I mean, that's what they built for. So it's going to be a tough game, and playing in West Hills is going to be a tough place to play because they've got a strong base of fans. They've got these great cheerleaders who do a great job of whipping the fans up and getting them excited, and we've got our work cut out for us.
We also talked with head coach of the West Shore Rebels, J.C. Boyce, and asked him about what he expects in a rematch against the Huskers.
It's just always tough preparing for the same team twice, but again, they have some athletes, and that receiver, Mike Williams, is quite a guy. Their quarterback is proven to get rid of the ball quickly and accurately, and he's tough in the pocket. I really have a lot of respect for Noah. I think, their schemes are getting better. But this is now the second half of the season for us. So last year, our offense was considerably more productive the second half of the season. I was pretty committed to staying within ourselves the first half. And we're going to do the same thing this year. So we're going to open things up quite a bit more now in the second half of the season. We've got some new wrinkles we'll be starting to roll out. And, we're going to challenge our kids this week by really being aggressive in our preparing, for the second half of the season. I know defensively, Coach Beatty's excited. We've had a lot of guys who kind of kept it quiet, but a lot of guys hurt and out, and those guys are starting to get healthy now. So we're getting some of our veterans back this week and kind of prep for second half of the season. So we're excited and hungry to play more football, and definitely hungry to have a home crowd. We have an alumni weekend, so we're pumped up.
If you are in the Victoria area, this Saturday, the game between the Valley Huskers and the West Shore Rebels starts at 4 p.m. at West Hills Stadium.
Hi, I'm G-Roy Stein with the BC Lions. You're watching Touchdown BC.
2 weeks ago, the Chilliwack Giants of the BCCFA hosted their annual summertime football tournament, the Chili Bowl, out at Townsend Park. Flag, Adam, Pee-wee, Junior Bantam, Bantam, and Midget teams from all over the province took a trip to Chilliwack to participate in this great event, and what a success it once was again. Now let's get into some of the highlights from the Chili Bowl 2016.
Chilliwack, North Langley. What looks to be a pitch pass behind the line ends up getting gobbled up by Jacob Ronald to put North Langley ahead early on. Chilliwack trying to get something going, but North Langley sees right through it. Another pitch outside, and Jacob Ronald comes flying in once again, this time taking someone with him. North Langley with the ball, and this time it's the other Ronald getting in on the action. This time it's Ronald receiving the slant, and he's off to the races to increase the score to 12-0 North Langley. North Langley goes for a 2-point conversion, but the Giants D stands strong. Later on, North Langley has possession again. It's Key dropping back and throwing a laser to David Wenger, and he simply outmatches the poor DB. Touchdown North Langley. The Bears go for 2 again, and this time they make no mistake, furthering their lead by another 8. North Langley back at the helm once again, this time to the steamroller, because he does that to his opponents. This Bears offense showed no sign of slowing down either, this time with the nice little screen pass to Bernardin, who scampers for another 15 yards. And just when you thought they were going to slow down, he launches an ICBM right into the hands of an open receiver to top it all off for North Langley. And just like that, the North Langley Bears are awarded the first place prize in the Bantam Chili Bowl. Now it's time for some Junior Bantam Chili Bowl action. Abbotsford White smashes it in for the score. The Giants in blue taking on North Surrey, and Caleb Spanner takes off to the outside after a couple fake handoffs. It's a huge stiff arm, and he is just too fast for the rest of them. A few plays later, Spanner shows off the arm, firing a dart to Davis Mitchell, who uses those big legs to create separation. Now it's time for the Giants in red to flex their muscles as big number 21 looks shadier than McCoy with some great open field jukes before taking it off to the outside as well, putting Chilliwack Red ahead. Abbotsford White against North Surrey now, and they execute the toss to perfection just like they had planned in practice, right? Chilliwack Blues turn later on, and they give it to Boomstick, and 88's letting bodies hit the floor like he's at a drowning pool concert. Abbotsford White against Chilliwack Red, and they show that they too can get it done in the air. The 88-12 combination proving too lethal for Red as they rumble in 63 yards for the score. Now a little role reversal between Davies and Caleb, with the former handing it off to Spanner, who runs it up the gut and finds a seam, leaving everyone with little to no doubt why he wears number 1 on his jersey. Now some Adam action in the Chili Bowl. Abbotsford Black starts off with a bang against Chilliwack White, catching almost everyone off guard and letting little number 12 run for his life with a swarm of white giants on his tail. Abby Black gets it back, and just watch the run here by number 40. This guy's GPS to the end zone has him doing a little off-roading. He makes some nice cuts and peels down the left sidelines, and this kid's got wheels. At the end of the play, he's got to dab it. Abby Black switching it up with an aerial assault, but it's Chilliwack's number 35 again, this time on defense, making a great heads-up play, taking the Abbotsford offering all the way for the score. But at the end of the day, it was Abbotsford Black that stood alone as champions of the Adam Chili Bowl. If you are looking to sign up for community football this season, visit bccommunityfootball.ca for more information on flag football, 9-man tackle, and 12-man tackle.
UBC this Friday will travel to Langford on the island to play its preseason game against the Manitoba Bisons at West Hills Stadium. It will be the first time that the T-Birds will hit the field for some competition since winning the Vanier Cup last season. UBC went 2-0 against the Bisons last season, including a 52-10 blowout in the Can West semifinals.
In what they are calling the Thunder Bowl, the T-Birds taking on the Bisons this Friday on the island, 7 p.m. kickoff at West Hills Stadium. We talked with the coach of the West Shore Rebels, J.C. Boyce, who are hosting the game, and asked him about what it means to Island football fans to have this game in their own backyard.
Oh, man, what a great time to be a football fan in Victoria. Yeah, an inaugural, Thunder Bowl, as you mentioned, having, the national champs UBC coming in. Manitoba has a lot of ties here to the island. They've always recruited the island well, and there's a ton of former players from the high schools here and from the Rebels actually playing. We've got a big alumni weekend plan. There is a ton of former Rebels players coming in. We have some alumni festivities. So, there's going to be some great football. Friday night is UBC in Manitoba. Saturday night's our big game against Chilliwack. We've got fans now coming from out of woodworks all over the place. BC Lions fans, Seahawks fans, Mountain Dog and Belmont, Spectrum fans. So just a great weekend of football, and we're happy to be right in the middle of it. Tickets are available at westshore-rebels.ca and thunderball.ca as well. So grab your ticket and come watch some great football.
The BCFC has had many great players pass through the league over the years. One of the biggest names that comes to mind is kicker Paul McCallum. Jim Mullen caught up with the 2-time Grey Cup champ and the 2011 CFL Most Outstanding Special Teams Player to talk about the BCFC and how it helped him get to the CFL.
Time for another chapter in the BCFC grad series, and we have none other than Paul McCallum with us. And I appreciate you taking the time to come down here to the studio to chat with us about junior football, the effect it's had on your life, and also your path to the pros and what you're doing now. So what is it that you're doing now?
I'm a real estate agent now. I've been doing that for probably 10 years. So I was doing it while I was playing as well, but now it's full-time, and off I go in this crazy market.
Before we got going here on the set, I was relating a story about Quinn Van Gilswyk, who played with UBC but started at West Shore as a 19-year-old punter place kicker, had a soccer background, never played the game of football before, and now he's on the roster of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Reminds me of a certain story.
Yeah.
You had a similar path. Does junior football give you that opportunity, if you're an athlete with a special skill set that hasn't been exposed to the game, to acquire those skills to get to the next level in your mind?
When my career, I decided was over for soccer and coming home from Europe, for me, I just wanted to go down to the local park and see my buddies who were playing for the Surrey Rams, and that was the opportunity. I mean, otherwise, where else would I have gone, and where else would I have been able to have some coaching, because it is different kicking a football to a soccer ball, and it's completely different punting a football to a soccer ball. So it gave me some time to sort of hone the skills that I would need, and pretty much, I mean, I was mature. I was 20 when I started. So, it gives you that time to go and do that. And I mean, the coaching is, I mean, there's lots of junior coaches that go to the CIS and then up they go again. Very good coaching in junior football, and I think there's some of the coaches that could coach at the CFL level. So it most definitely is going to help the young players given the opportunity that are close, that just need the extra time. Because I think the United States, they have so many teams, so many players, so many coaches that I think we just need a little bit more time. So it helps.
Do you not find it somewhat amazing that we have this option of junior football in Canada, whereas they don't have it in the United States? It's everything's locked into the educational system from JUCO on up when it comes to post-secondary football. This is a really unique opportunity for athletes to engage in the game, isn't it?
It is. I mean, from I believe 18 to 22 years old, there are some leagues in the United States that they're not ran as professionally as I would look at it as the junior ranks. But I think it's something that we have up here that's very special that people don't really know about. I was a teammate of Jermaine Haley's. I remember him coming up from California when he was 18 years old. Never heard of it before, but I think that was a stepping stone for him in his life, coming here, not really going the schooling way, and he had the opportunity, and it sort of catapulted him from here into junior college and then back into the CFL, or to the CFL, and then off to the NFL. So it's very unique, and I think that it's something that we have that is going to help the young kids who take the alternate route.
Tell me about your time with the Rams. That was a stretch of success for that operation. And tell me about, you mentioned Jermaine Haley, but there are a number of special people around that program at the time. Who stood out in your mind, and what events stood out in your mind?
Well, there's been a few. I mean, I had Daryl Schwartz. He was like the guy that was just going to help me. He wanted to be a part of the organization, and he would come out and spend hours with me kicking, and he would look up videos and things just to help him understand what I needed to do to become better. Nick Kawaza. I think he's coaching Tweedsmuir and Langley now, but he's been in football for as long as I can remember. And the thing that stands out for me was preparing me that things aren't going to come easy to you. I mean, and you got to work for them and put in the time and the effort and the mental aspect of it. Kicking's a bit of a different situation when it comes to the mental aspect of it than I think all the other positions, maybe other than the quarterback. And, he would do things that would sort of mess with me, throw things at me when I wasn't prepared for them, to see how I would handle them. And those things, I think, would help me deal with lots of the adversity that comes to going from playing, 3 years of junior football to going to a professional camp. And when I was started, I mean, and I wouldn't call it hazing, I would just call it sort of the initiation of, you've got to pay your dues, which isn't quite the same as it today as it was then. But junior football really prepared me for those types of things and how to deal with the mental aspect of the game, and it's a very, people don't understand, but it is a very stressful thing, even just going to training camp.
Tell me about the cultural transition between the culture of the game of soccer, especially over in Europe, and I'm assuming that you went through the kind of club academy system over there, and then coming back over here at the age of 20, after your soccer career, at least you concluded in your mind that it was all wrapped up, and shifting over to a game like football. A lot of people just assume you're good at kicking the ball in soccer, you can kick the ball in football, but it's really two different worlds, isn't it? Completely different worlds. I mean, playing soccer, you're part of the team. You're one of the members. In football, you've got offense and defense, and special team is sort of a combination of both. So for me, the transition was very difficult, going from being in the group
to not working with them to now all of a sudden I have to go work by myself, or I've got to go grab the holder who's the receiver, and I got to wait for him, and then maybe the linebacker, he's going to be the snapper, so you kind of have to wait and bide your time, and that was really difficult because you got to go work on this by yourself. So then you just basically, junior, you put the ball down, or 2 or 3 if you can get that many, and then kick them and then go get them and then bring them back. And so for me, it was a really hard transition in the beginning, but I did well right off the hop. So then the team sort of would bring you in, so you feel a little bit like part of the team. But then you go to during the games, but then when you go to practice, there you go again. You're on your own and you're doing your thing. So it's a completely different mindset and team sort of. I don't know, the way they would gel them together. It's just very, very different.
Yeah, completely different dynamics between the two sports, and especially the position that you were in. Talk to me about the transition from junior to professional football.
For me, I think it was my first year with junior. Bill Quinter was out. He was the director of player personnel at the time, and he was down at Bear Creek Park. And he had seen a bunch of the players that he liked, and he asked us to come out with the last 2 weeks of the Lions season in 1990. And so we came out and we went to practice. I think Doug Flutie was there at the time as well. And we practiced the last 2 weeks, and then the last practice, because I think they were eliminated from the playoffs, they sat us down and they asked us if we wanted to go to training camp the following year. Well, sure, I'd like to go. I had no idea. So sign up, go to training camp, knowing full well that it's just there for experience. They're going to cut us. They're going to come back and play a junior. So, went there, did that, saw what it was like with Louis. And, I can't say enough about him, Louis, taking me, I wouldn't say taking me under his wing right away, but he was always there. If I had any questions, he would answer them, and then I just tried to follow and emulate what he did. But it was the going from junior training camp or practice to the pros was night and day. The speed of the game, the size of the guys. So my personality is I just kind of sat back and we just watch and see how things were ran and what you were expected of the rookies, because we didn't look at ourselves, because we were still junior players, we didn't look at ourselves as the rookies that were fighting for jobs. We were just looking to go get experience, which is another thing that I think is really good here in Canada, that they do that with the junior players. As far as I know, across Canada, they do that. And so that's another thing that I think adds to the whole aspect of junior football that we have here that's very special and helps the junior players along.
That does it for episode 3 of Touchdown BC. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Come back next week for more stories on BC amateur football from around the province. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Touchdown BC is sponsored by the Robertson Braun Group, Remax Kelowna. Thinking real estate in Kelowna? Think Blake Roberts and Marlene Braun. For more information, call 250-878-5242.